Well, it's a Sunday, and of course, it's raining, because that seems to be the weather every Sunday here at the moment. Anyway, it's not windy, so I think we might be able to successfully do this with the umbrella up. Unlike last time, where a slight breeze rendered this umbrella completely useless. Anyway, just do this. This was a difficult one today. I had to force myself to come out. Really didn't want to. Mentally just didn't want to. Didn't want to get out. Didn't want to leave the house. However, forced myself to do it. So we'll see. I do think part of it is just sometimes not wanting to go out, not wanting to be outdoors. I'd just rather not. Lights on. Being sort of, when you're in that mindset, normally I wouldn't go out. But the problem is that mindset spreads. So what starts out one day then turns into 2 and 3 and then a week, and then it starts to go beyond all of that. So you have to try and force yourself to do it. You have to break the cycle, or not even allow it to begin. It's easier to not allow it to begin, in my opinion, in my experience. Like forcing myself out today when mentally I didn't want to is kind of a win, you know? When you've done it, it's done. And then everything else that sort of follows in the day, I think, becomes much easier, because you've already actually done the win. Put yourself out there. You've already fought a battle and won. And it's just a simple battle of not wanting to come outside, not wanting to go out. Physically, there was no reason. It was raining a little bit. I've been out in a lot worse. But you just put yourself into a situation where that's not an issue. You know, you just say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not just going to sit inside and, stick a game on and play it. I'm going to go out. I'm going to earn it because I come out on a Sunday. And say, once you've done that, It's like the rest of the day is yours because you've done your thing. Anyway, as usual at this point, I will hit stop and then I will see you all in the park. I'll have to make a note to myself to charge up the microphone today after I've done this walk. It's Sunday Stroll because it's down to 40%. This is the mistake I made last week. I should charge it. Well, it usually works out. I get about a week there or thereabouts. The camera I have to charge every time. Battery's not very long in that. I will have to get a backup battery, I think. But like I say, that's okay because when I connect the camera to my computer to download the files, the video footage to the PC to edit it, it starts to charge the camera anyway. So it sort of kills two birds with one stone. But with the wireless microphone, it has its own little charging caddy that you have to plug it into. So yeah, there's actually some people in the allotments. It's a rare sight. I guess they're prepping it, maybe, or just clearing it up. It's easier to do this time of the year, isn't it? Because you've not got anything growing there, or very few things growing. But yeah, interesting. Oh. There won't be a walkie-talkie on Tuesday because I've got an appointment with the surgeon that did all the work on me just over a year ago now. She wants to see how I'm doing, so, and also what's likely to happen going forward. So that's there won't be one then because at the time of my appointment I won't get the walk done in time and get back and get there, and when I come back it'll be too late in the day. When I've gone for my blood tests, they've always been like 9 o'clock in the morning, and usually I'm back by about I'm usually back about 10 past, 9:15. So I just come straight out to do the walk. Just swap my footwear over, put my boots on and come straight out, and it works out roughly about the same time. But this appointment, it's a little bit later, it's sort of middle of the morning, so it's not going to be practical. And it'll be too busy at that time coming out here. I'll be spending most of my time trying to stop people getting on camera and editing, and I'm not doing that. Nah, I'm not doing that. It'll be lunchtime before I get home anyway, so that's not going to happen. So Tuesday's a definite no-no on the walkie-talkie front. But it's not like I'm just going to be in doing nothing. I'll be out. Oh yeah. And it's just me and a couple walking the dogs at the moment here. I guess other people are feeling the same. And maybe psyching themselves up. Oh, here you go. Of course, spoke too soon as usual. I don't know. I'm not going to the gardens, not in this weather. Absolutely not. So it's too wet. No chance that's happening. Oh, more people. Here you go. See, I opened my mouth. Should have kept it shut. I always wonder whether, like dogs don't generally like having a bath, but some dogs will like run into like bodies of water and stuff and roll around in it. I wonder if what their view is on the rain. Now the dog I had, she hated it. Like she would be desperate to go out and she'd look out the back door and it'd be raining and she would just stop. And if she was absolutely desperate, she'd literally run out, do what she had to do and then get back in like record time. It's hilarious. She always made me laugh doing that. But yeah, I wonder what like they're like. Really? Especially if they don't have any kind of coat or anything like that on. The damn pants keep falling. I don't know why. But yeah, it's like if they don't have a coat, like one of them little doggy jackets, and they're like, yeah, it's all right for you people, you've got your coats on and your umbrellas, but I have to get wet. But they seem to be all right. I guess it just depends on the dog, like with people, isn't it? But it's interesting what the thought processes are. So yeah, as I was saying, there will be walkie-talkie missing next week. What I might do is make it up on the Saturday, so I get the 6 days in. But that will depend very much on the weather. If it's really blowing and raining, then you can't do it. I need a better coat. I have actually devised a little thing for that scenario for my camera. I cut a piece of card, wrapped it in cling film and taped it up, and then we got a rubber band that I can put around my camera. I actually popped that over the top of the lens to stop or to try to cut down if I was out with just a coat on without the umbrella, because you still get a few splashes on the lens even with the umbrella, weirdly enough. It's a bit bizarre. But yeah, I was thinking about that, but it's just I've got to find myself a decent coat, because the ones I've got just wouldn't cut it if it was like really bad rain. Because when you get into spring, you do start to get some dodgy weather going on. So you have to like make allowances for it, like February, March. And I can't be stuck in for days on end if it's, you know, if the weather's bad for days on end. I can't be stuck in. You know, it's one thing to sort of miss one day here or there, but you can get like a week or so of it. So I need to get myself like a decent parka or something like that with a decent hood on it. It's good water resistance. I have to have a look. See, I do have a waterproof, but it's not very thick. It wouldn't give you much in the way of warmth. So, and the hood on it's one of them like pack away hoods. It's not particularly big. So it'd like just cover your face, but it'll cover your head, but it wouldn't really do much in terms of like covering your face. So I don't know. I'll see. I'll do all that and then the weather will be fine. It won't happen. That's always the way, isn't it? You prepare the living hell out of it, and then you get to wear it like once. And you're like, oh, great. That's good. What are we doing? God, it feels like I've been out longer than I have around here. I mean, I have been out longer than I have on here. It just feels like I've been walking a lot longer than I have been. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, God. Dragging me feet, I hate that. Oh. See, I'm now struggling for things to say. There's like more people going to arrive in here. I don't get it. There are better places, surely, than this. Yeah, like take your dogs. I just don't get it. I mean, if you're gonna like drive to the place, why don't you drive somewhere better? Maybe you have to pay for them places. I don't know. I have no idea. But I would. It's not especially big. As you can probably tell from my videos, I'm pretty much walking on the path around the main part. And like I said, it's not a particularly big place. It's not really, it doesn't really utilise the space very well either. I mean, is this that there? What the hell was that? There was obviously some sort of building there at some point, but they've just left it. But there's it's just a thing with stuff growing in it now. It's like overgrown. It's not really serving any kind of function. So I'd either put something on it or get rid of it. You know, there doesn't really seem to be. There don't seem to be much point in it. Yeah. More and more people arriving. See, me and my mouth. Put the kiss of death on it. I don't know if the football team that plays here, I don't know if they're away or they're not playing. They're not really here an awful lot. In the time that I've been doing this, and it has been during the football season, they've only been here a couple of times. They're clearly not here today because they've not got the nets up. So I'm just going to guess that they might not have that many teams in the league. When I played Sunday League many moons ago, we played every week. There was loads of teams, but I don't think that's the case now. Yeah, it's weird. It used to be like 1 week you'd play away and the next week you'd be at home. And sometimes you might have a couple of weeks where you're away and then you have a couple of weeks consecutively when you'd be at home. But no. And the junior pitch over there, I'll be walking past in a minute. I've never seen anybody on that, ever. It's just there, never seen it. Like it's set up, or anybody playing on it in all the time I've been doing the walks around here. Now, when I was a little kid, like up to the age of like 11, we'd be playing on that, on a pitch that size, with goals that size. And then once you got over that, you went onto the full-size pitches with the full-size goals. But yeah, what would happen was if we would play at the same time as the older guys, because it would have a junior team. So you've got like here, you've got 3 pitches. You got 2 full-size pitches over there, and this 1 junior here. So at some point there must have been a requirement for 3 teams to be playing at the same time. Or else why would you need 3? You'd only need 1, and then you just swap out when the other team comes. So some teams must have been here. They must have stopped. They must have gone away. But like this here, I'm showing you now, that's a junior pitch. I've never seen it used, and it's never been, you can tell, there's no markings on it, it's not been marked up. And if you look at the thing, it's never been cleared. It's been mowed, but it's never been cleared, so that's not been used for ages. There's no markings on it. You probably can't see, but there are faint markings on this one. It is marked up. It's difficult because it's wet as well, but that pitch is marked up. Well, the junior one isn't. So it looks to me like that's not been used for quite some time. So yeah, it's probably a good indicator really of one of the problems these days with how things are being run sport-wise over here. It's like just stuff not being used because there's probably not much interest in it, which is sad really. Yeah, both of these big pitches are marked up, so they're clearly being used. But yeah, I mean, when we were kids, we would be using that junior pitch all the time. You know, it was like loads of teams playing on it all the time. So, you know, I say these, they'd be used every week when I was a kid. There'd be loads of teams using it all the time. And I've only seen one game on this one. The other pitch is marked up as well, so they've obviously been using that. But I mean, there's no provision for it being played at night because there's no floodlights. So there's no night games. So it's always daytime, and it'd be weekend. Now, the only thing I can think of is that schools use it in the day. Well, why isn't that small pitch marked up? Why isn't that small pitch? Yeah, it doesn't make sense that the small pitch hasn't been marked up. I don't know. It's very, very odd. Very, very odd. Anyway. Very interesting. Goalposts could do with a lick of paint and all. They look awful. It's, like I said, it's an indicator really. But I was watching a video from a guy who's talking about, I don't know whether this is like this in every, with all coaching, but was talking about one particular team whose coach basically said that a player couldn't play for them, a young lad who was in the under nines, couldn't play for them anymore because he wasn't good enough, basically. I've never heard anything like that. That's absolutely appalling. That's why you have empty pitches, because kids are being discouraged. You know, when I was playing, at that age in particular, under nines, that was for fun. I've actually got a trophy for what playing in the under nines. I got a trophy, a player's trophy for it. God alone knows why, but I must have thought I'd done something good that season. But yeah, I mean, it was just, no, it wasn't a participation trophy. When I say it was a trophy, by the way, it was a little plastic thing on a stand. And they'd used one of them little label markers. Not the ones you get today that you like print it on. It was one of the old ones where you pressed a thing and it just like pushed through this plastic, like a little, well, it's quite a thick plastic sheet. And you would dial, you had a little dial on it, and you'd feed the plastic through and you'd press, you'd click it, and it would like sort of emboss your name through it by pushing up through, and where the plastic turned white, that was the letter and the number. That's all it was. It would have been about 20p. In America, probably a quarter. this thing. So yeah, you could say it was a trophy, but it's a little like, it's a little plastic shield thing. I don't even have it out, it's in the drawer somewhere at home. It's like the one and only thing I ever won in football. As I got older, most of the time I seemed to win, getting in trouble with referees for arguing. I was one of them. These days I'd have been sent off. But back then, you know, back in the 80s, it was a little bit more rough and tumble. You know, being verbal was part of the game. Today, like, you look at a player and they fall over as if they've been shot in the kneecaps, and you probably get sent off. But yeah, I think a lot of the problem is when you've got that kind of attitude, if that is a thing that is prevalent, I mean, I don't know. I mean, first of all, if that had been my kid, that coach would be in a massive world of shit. But yeah, I think that's the problem. It puts kids off. Because when you're that age, you got your mates, and if your mates are playing for a team, like with me at that age, and my mates were playing, that's why I was playing as well. You know, you got to hang out with your mates playing football at a weekend, and now somebody, basically the coach that's supposed to teach you, make you better, clearly can't. Clearly he's not a very good coach. You know, my coaches back then were great. It was fun, you had a laugh. You wanted to be involved. You know, there were lads who were, you know, were never, you know, the ball come near them and they ran away from it. You know, they were playing, at that age, it's about having fun and you'd have a laugh. These days, I think they're trying to make like some weird standard. You're not going to get that at kids that age. You got to engage them in the game. That comes later. All of that stuff comes later. That age, it's about getting people into the game. And like I say, you can see a disused junior pitch there that back in my day, right now, there'd be a game on and they'd be waiting for another game. They'd be waiting for the next lot to come on. In the, not the Sunday League team I played in, when I was a kid, we had a first and second team. We had an A and a B team. There was that many kids. And even then, you know, we had like a million substitutes. Like every kid wanted to play because it was fun. And just look at it now. And like saying, all of the times I've walked and been around here, it's been what, 2-3 times, and that's with the seniors. That's with, you know, a Sunday League side. It's a grassroots. Is this what it's like now in this country at grassroots? Is it this bad? Because it doesn't bid well for the future, does it? You know, if you want to ensure the future of your game over here, then you need to be thinking ahead. How do I get these kids involved? You know, how do I get them to love the game? Like I did when I was a kid. I mean, going to the game now is so expensive over here. You know, it can cost you, you know, if you were a family, and let's just say one of the parents took 2 kids, by the time you've got there to the stadium, you've paid for the ticket, you've paid for, you know, whatever food or whatever, you're looking at about 200 quid for an hour and a half's worth of football. People can't afford that. Imagine like that every other week. You know, if you've got like 18 games a season at home, 18 away, but it's 18 games or 19 games at home. You know, if you've got a 20-team league, you know, you obviously dock your team out of it, and by the time you've played home and away, that's it. That's 38 games. So you halve that, that's 19. You know, it's a hell of a lot of money just to take like one parent and a couple of kids. 200 quid, you know, a match. It's ridiculous. So they're cutting themselves off both in terms of getting kids involved in the game, and then on top of all of that, they're cutting themselves off in terms of kids actually playing it. So your future is not going to be great, is it? People are not watching it and people are not playing it. But it's all about the here and now. And so you can set up as many schools of excellence for these things as possible, but people develop at different ages. Like how many world-class players just didn't get into the game because they weren't encouraged, because while they were still growing up as little kids under the age of 9, you know, they were being basically told, I did. They were basically being told they weren't wanted by a team anymore. Because of what? Because I think we said like their touch on the ball wasn't good enough. That's what you're supposed to coach. And why are you worrying about that at the age of 9? So yeah, just my little rant on that. It's an absolute shit show. Whatever they're doing over here, it isn't working, because these pitches would be heaving, if not every week, certainly every other week, and there'd be loads of people stood around. And I'm outdoors right now, and when I went past the nearest school to here before, I couldn't hear anything. Now, where that school is that I walked past, when I was playing in the kids game, I'd played on there. That wasn't my home pitch. We used to visit there as an away game. And that was like, it was packed. Well, not packed, there was loads of parents, loads of games going on. The games would go on from like, I don't know, like 10 o'clock in the morning into the afternoon, because there'd be multiple games. And like I say, when I would be coming off at the end of my game, literally as we were coming off, the next lot would be going on. It was like a rotation. It was that busy. It's crazy, isn't it? To me, there's something wrong. Something isn't working. And I'm not going to blame, screens as they call it. I'm not going to blame tablets and YouTube and all that stuff. I had a computer, I had a Commodore 64 when I was in the VIC-20 and other electronic gadgets when I was a little kid. And I still love coming out and playing football. I still played out an awful lot. Kids will do both. But you've got to make it fun. Kids want to do things that's fun. If you take the fun away, then they're not going to do it. And that's the problem. Fun is being taken out of a lot of things. You know, learning stuff, that was for the classroom. When you were playing, what we were learning was how to have fun. That was all it was. But nowadays, no, that has to be in everything, because people are obsessed with having to teach kids lessons in everything all the time. With that, and they take the fun out of it. You can do both. Like I say, we did both when I was a kid. We learnt stuff, but we also had fun. That was the important thing first, because that's what engages you as a kid. You know, unless you're like a psychopath. Obviously, I'm joking. But if you get fun learning maths, and this is coming from somebody that used to work in finance, by the way, so yeah. If that, you know, that's generally speaking for most kids not their idea of a good time in a classroom. So when you come to do the fun things, if it ain't that much fun either, if that's not a significant difference to sitting there and learning to read and write and your arithmetic, you know, as you used to call it, the 3 R's, which is hilarious because last time I checked, you know, writing started with a W, but hey ho. And I guess you have to drop the A off arithmetic. You're just looking over the way there, there's a school over the way and there's a lot of people going there now. That might be the school team, but stuff like this was usually for outside of school. That's what I say, I played on a Sunday, it wasn't a school team. I wasn't a part of that. That was a team that wasn't associated with the school at all, and there was loads. So that's the other thing as well. We had school teams and we had these. So there was always choices. But yeah, I just think it's messed up. Kids are getting too much homework these days as well. There's too much pressure put on them at an early age. I mean, if you're telling me that at the age of 8 or 9, you're doing stuff that is essentially going to affect the rest of your life, you know, in an academic sense, then you're doing it wrong. I didn't start coming into my own at school until I was 13 years old. You know, they're doing it wrong. They're chasing imaginary ideas, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You're putting a huge amount of pressure on teachers as well. They're walking away from the profession. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to be a teacher in this day and age. So, you know, they're doing it wrong, but they won't admit it. They will never admit that they're doing it wrong, but they are. And the results speak for themselves. Anyway, that's my view. We'll do one more round and then we'll call it, I think. Certainly the rain's not eased up. Yeah, that just does, it makes me sad that, you know, and it's not weather related either. No, it's not down to the weather. We played in all weather. And I've come round here when it on a few Sundays when it hasn't been raining. So yeah, what to do? I don't know actually. I'm all out of ideas. Well, there's a surprise. Alien 3. Hated by many people. Not the worst Alien movie by a long shot. By a long shot. Like once you get over Hicks and Newt, spoiler alert for a 30-odd-year-old movie now. Once you get over the fact that they're basically not in the film because they die at the beginning, the rest of it's actually pretty good. It's a pretty good Alien movie. It's just people were pissed, and rightfully so, about that. I mean, they could have made a better one. I think the William Gibson one would have been really good to kick off like another trilogy. I like the ideas in that. But and it's interesting that in the William Gibson treatment, the black goo, or the bio weapon side of it, which was adapted by Ridley Scott to become the black goo, that's actually in that script. Only, it was to add to another way that the aliens can spread. It basically gets into your bloodstream and turns you into a xenomorph, which is basically what they did with Prometheus. Kind of interesting, isn't it? An abandoned script. Seems pretty clear to me that's where that idea came from. But yeah, I mean, even if you didn't want to go with that and wanted to just, have the via the conventional means, still I think would have been a better film if you wanted to go forward with the franchise. But I mean, like I say, Alien 3 certainly ain't the worst. Not in hindsight. Not with what came after. That's for sure. It's definitely not. I think I've done the Alien video, haven't I? But yeah, it would have been interesting. Say, certainly superior to what direction it ended up going in. Anyway, we'll wrap up. Appears that this rain's going to get worse. It's definitely coming down more than it was when I come out. So I'll call it there. Yeah, we'll call it. So, hopefully I'll be back out tomorrow with a walkie-talkie. God alone knows what I'm going to talk about in that one, but hopefully we get that. And there won't be one on Tuesday. There's no way about, no doubts about that. So, we'll call it there, I think. Oh, this frigging umbrella goes sideways. Yeah, we'll call it there, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good weekend, guys. See you later.